Hello, my name is Eman Morad. I'm a mother of three children who all went to Adaban Elementary School in Foster City, and now two of them go to Bowditch, one attend San Mateo High School. Today I'm reading a book called Time to Pray with the permission of from the publisher at Boyd Mills and Kayne. The reason I chose this book is because it's related to my childhood. I am a Middle Eastern woman, Muslim, and from Syria who grew up just like the people who are in the book. This book also reminds me of my grandmother, or what we call in Arabic Teta, who I grew up watching her doing her daily five times prayers without missing any, and I often prayed next to her. Another reason I chose this book is because I always dreamed and hoped that my kids one day will be able to visit my home country, Syria, and see their grandmother or teta to learn and witness what the girl in the book and I witnessed. But before I start reading the book, I'd like to explain to you a little bit about Muslims' prayers so you get better understanding of the book and the terms in the book. Muslims usually pray five times a day, one in the very early morning, and two in the afternoon, and two in the evening. Before they before each prayer, Muslims have to perform a ritual washing called wudu. Person called mu'adhin calls people to pray from a special building called masjid or mosque, so people go and pray. Now I'm gonna start reading for you. In the darkness, green lights winked at me from the minaret of the nearby mosque. I heard the voice of the mu'adhin calling, "Come to pray, come to pray." It was my first night at Grandma's house. I learned that the mu'adhin calls Muslims to prayer five times each day. But when I heard the call, I was too tired. I closed my eyes until the light from the whole bathroom lit my room. Grandma stood near the sink. I watched her wash her hands, mouth, nose, face, and arms. She ran a damp hand over her hair and her ears. Then she washed her feet. The mu'adhin called, "Prayer is better than sleep. Prayer is better than sleep." But as much as I tried, I could not keep my eyes open. I heard the mu'adhin. I told Grandma at breakfast, but I was too sleepy to get up. "You are still young, Yasmin Habibti," Grandma said, flattering the dough from cinnamon rolls. "With practice, you will be able to rise early." "But Teta," I said, calling Grandma by my favorite name for her, "we don't have a mosque near my house. How will I ever know when I want to pray?" Grandma's eyes smiled at me. "You will figure a way, Habibti," she said as she placed the rolls on a tray. I liked it when Teta called me Habibti, my love. In fact, I know how we will spend our morning. Soon we were on our way. Our first stop was at a fabric store. "What color fabric would you like, Yasmin?" Teta asked. "I will make you some special prayer clothes." It took me a while to decide. There were many pretty designs. Finally, I pointed to a bolt of fabric high up on a shelf. "I like that one the best, Teta," I said. The vendor unrolled the material and cut 2 yards length. Next, we stopped at the corner store where Teta helped me pick up a small rug. I ran my hand over several of them. They were soft and velvety, with beautiful patterns. I settled on one with blue swirls and crescents. This will be your special prayer rug, my Yasmin, Teta said. At our last stop, Teta left the store with a small cardboard box. As I was about to ask her what was inside, the muezzin began crooning the call to prayer. It was the second prayer of the day. We need to get home so I can pray the afternoon prayer, Teta said. Many storekeepers locked their shops and walked to the mosque. A vendor who had a pyramid of oranges on his sidewalk juice stand spread a blanket over the fruit and hurried off to pray. Can we go to the mosque too? I asked. I'll take you there for the late afternoon prayer, Teta said. It might be less busy during the third prayer of the day. At home, Teta taught me how to wash before praying. I did not have the proper clothes for prayer, but Teta said it was all right. Teta stood for some time before she bent forward at the waist and placed her hands on her knees. She went down on her knees, then rested her forehead on the ground. I watched as she did this several times. Then Teta sat up and turned her palms upward. Her mouth moved all the time. It was fun to watch. At lunch, we had Teta best upside down rice. She turned the pot over a platter, and when she pulled the pot off, the rice was a perfect cake. It tasted delicious with a plain yogurt. Upside down is very famous dish in Middle East. Very popular. After lunch, Teta brought out her sewing machine. As the machine hummed, I could see my prayer clothes taking shape. After Teta threaded elastic in the waistband, I slipped on my new floor-length skirt and almost tripped. I placed the headpiece on and pulled it back. My face peeked through the opening. Then Teta took me to the mosque. I sat on the floor with Teta in one of the back rows. I was surprised that the muezzin did not go all the way to the top of the minaret. He called through a microphone instead. Over the next few days, Teta helped me practice my prayers. We prayed together a few more times before I left for home. I especially liked the fourth prayer at sunset. The sky always had swirls of red, even when there were no clouds. The last and fifth prayer of the day came just before my bedtime when it was very dark outside. I knew I would miss the twinkling minaret lights outside my window. When it was time to leave, Teta took me to the airport. I gave her a big hug. Thank you, my Teta, I said. I will miss you, Habibti, she said. We are very close, my Teta and I. When I returned home, Mom helped me unpack. My little brother took my prayer clothes and put them with his toys. He made a perfect train tunnel out of my skirt and turned my headpiece into a little tent. Mom helped me put my prayer clothes in a safe place. Then I saw it, the box that Tata carried home from the market. I could not believe my eyes. Inside was a minaret mosque. Whoa, Mom said. This is a special prayer clock. Dad helped me set the timer for the 5 prayers of the day. When it went off, it didn't ring. Instead, it made the sound of the muezzin calling us to prayer. Now, when I walk by the cinnamon bun store at the mall, it smells like Tata's house. When Mom makes upside down rice, it may not look like Tata's, but it tastes like Tata's. And when the prayer clock goes off, it sounds just like the muezzin near Tata's house. I don't always pray all 5 prayers. I'm still practicing. Sometimes when the prayer clock rings before dawn, I turn over and go back to sleep. But don't tell Tata. That's the end. Here's some explanation of prayer times. Thank you for listening.